So I've got a lot of news to break down to you guys today. Assassin's Creed Shadows is still causing the internet to explode in many different ways. The Japanese are upset. People in the West are accusing Japanese people that are upset of not really being Japanese. Korean American IGN writers are making articles about themselves and trying to get rid of the concept of the samurai altogether. And game developers and news writers are backpedaling, apologizing, and caving, bending the knee to the mob who is screaming at everybody for being against a black samurai being the main character of a Japanese setting video game. The world is basically on fire, and I'm here to bring all of these points to you. Again, there is a lot to break down, but what I want to start with is a post from Grums that talks about CD Projekt Red. I've already reported on them, but today they are a victim. What are they a victim of? Bullying, harassment, and cancellation. Senior lead 3D weapons artist at CD Projekt Red gets bullied into changing his stance on Assassin's Creed. The dev pressure out there to conform is immense, and if you don't play ball, you will get pushed out. Nobody in AAA gaming is free to speak. I have so many friends and contacts who tell me they will lose their jobs if they say anything, to which Chris Gore responded, if they remain silent, they will lose their livelihood. It's time for people to speak out without fear. If you saw my previous video about the No Rest for the Wicked / Ori CEO swearing off DEI consultancy, saying that they fired one of their own DEI consultants for internal friction, and calling out the Sweet Baby Inc. narrative, sometimes those things can be beneficial for game developers who decide to have courage and stand up for what they believe in, but other times you can get canceled. If you see this post from Mikhail Kaliz, he says, the concerns and criticism around Assassin's Creed Shadow are valid, and I personally think it might disrespect Japanese culture with the provided historical inaccuracy. People, especially Japanese people, have full right to oppose trends like these. And of course, let's just have common sense for a second. Japan's just been waiting for this game to come out for almost 2 decades now, and it just seems right to have a Japanese male character as the main protagonist. A lot of people believe that there's a reason that Ubisoft decided to go with the Black Samurai, and I think that it's fair to suggest that it was for DEI reasons. There are plenty of other Japanese heroes of legend that they could have picked for this, even historically accurate ones, but they decided to go with the one guy who was a foreigner. It doesn't make any sense, and we'll touch upon that in just a second, but this guy had a lot of attention. He probably had maybe 500,000 to almost 1 million or more before he finally caved and decided to apologize to the mob. If you see right here, he posted his apology later on. He actually posted it this morning at 8 a.m. my time. I've noticed criticism regarding my recent comment about Assassin's Creed Shadows. After reflecting on it and reading your responses, retweets, I realize I owe you an apology. Oh, come on, dude. What you said wasn't even that crazy. Why are you apologizing to the mob? And I keep saying, don't bend the knee to the mob, but these game developers, they feel that they're under pressure, like Grum says. They are afraid. They don't want to lose their jobs or be canceled, and yet sometimes they end up being canceled anyway, even if they have very mild and even reasonable takes like the one that he's apologizing for. He says, first of all, I acknowledge that I am not qualified to share statements or discuss such topics. Yeah, can I stop him right there for just a second? Why is it that the lead writer of Assassin's Creed Shadows, who is a white woman, who is writing a black samurai character into the game, why is it that she is allowed to talk about this? Or why is it that you're apologizing to Twitter randos and they're the ones who are qualified to talk about this, but you as a game developer and weapons designer are not? That doesn't make any sense. And that is the level of fear that these people put into these developers who are just trying to make games and keep their heads down. It really is an insane situation and a sad one, but this is the kind of thing that we have to deal with. The crazy mob who are inciting this cancellation are probably cheering about it and using it against gamers. But he says, your feedback has highlighted the importance of being more informed and respectful in my opinions. It has also shown me that we should be more open to new ideas and not restrict ourselves too much while creating new worlds. Amazing. We all draw inspiration from a wide range of media, and that's great. I appreciate your patience and understanding. I've learned something valuable and will strive to do better in the future. I'm looking forward to the next AC. The setting intrigues me a lot. So he's basically apologizing for trying to stick up for the Japanese people that are upset, who feel that they're being insulted and having Western ideology projected onto them. He's apologizing for that. So what he's really saying is, sorry for sticking up for Japan, my bad. We need to just support Ubisoft in everything that they do, even their insane prices, which we are also going to discuss. But apparently the backlash for this guy got so bad that the apology didn't even matter, because he ended up going protected anyway, and he's the senior lead weapon artist at CD Projekt Red. Designer, opinions are my own, portfolio. It really is disappointing that people get canceled like this, but he probably went protected because he called out the people who were criticizing the Japanese for being upset, and then he apologized and caved to the woke mob, so he was probably being attacked by both sides with people saying, what the heck's wrong with you? Why are you defending this? And then why are you turning your backs on them at the last second? So that's a disaster right there, but they're not the only people on an apology spree. Apparently this is happening to Reset Era as well. From learning the law, Assassin's Creed Shadows crossed the line so much that Reset Era had to issue an apology because they can't offend Asians and black people at the same time, Lamau. So yeah, this is a really hilarious post right here. Check this out. This is from Reset Era's forums. They're apparently talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I guess things got a little messy in their chats, and so they posted this to clarify things, I guess. Reopening the thread, it's likely most people will not be getting actioned if they were reported. We will continue looking through reports, but feel the discussion can continue now that people have had a chance to cool off. This is a significantly intersectional issue where ultimately there is no lack of validity for any parties involved. So this person's saying, hey, everybody on both sides, they're actually pretty reasonable. They have a reason to be upset and it's justifiable. It is fair for black members of the forum to both be happy that Yasuke has gotten in and to be upset that his inclusion in an East Asian setting is being essentially sidestepped for the disappointment over a lack of an East Asian male playable character. Subsequently, it is okay for East Asians to celebrate the fact that while a Japanese woman is playable, a Japanese man is not, in what should ostensibly be a setting where that would be the case. And frankly, if any East Asian women were to feel some type of way about the fact that East Asian men aren't satisfied, fair dues. Wow, that's actually a really reasonable take, right? So it goes on saying no one is necessarily wrong to feel the way they feel here, given not just the history of this franchise and its community, but the reality of the dearth of both black and Asian representation within Western studios' catalogs. And frankly, there's little way to reason or moderate this issue without essentially giving credence to one side or the other. So if they do take a stance on this, they know that they're going to upset one of both sides. Intersectionality is a tough cookie to crack, I guess, and we're not going to solve it here, especially if it risks alienating any affected members. You know what? That's fair enough, but they go on to say, I will say, keep the inflammatory accusations to a minimum. People care about this issue in their own ways, even if you disagree with their priorities. Cool. Well, then I guess there's nothing more to be said. Or is there? Quote, and if you want a bigger thought exercise, question the productivity of fighting other minorities in order to be seen by a white-led studio. Oh man, they just can't help themselves. In a world where our oppressors benefit from this infighting, when instead we can put that energy towards building a world where white acceptance doesn't actually matter anymore. So white people are oppressors again, it's our faults, and people have to do away with white acceptance. But where was all this talk about coming together and understanding both sides? But now white people are evil again? Oh, give me a break. No wonder these people are getting canceled. They just can't make sense of things and make good decisions. They just keep saying stupid things and making everybody mad at them. But they're not the only ones backpedaling, because they know that this is sending negative waves across the social media space. From learning the law again, Assassin's Creed Shadows developer confessed their intention to finding a non-Japanese character to fit the Japanese period. The article is 100% real and came from a now deleted paragraph from Famitsu. Even the Japanese website paid by Ubisoft is doing damage control. Very fascinating. All the way out in Japan, Famitsu. So Famitsu did an interview for Assassin's Creed Shadows, but some of the dialogue in that article was apparently offensive and they decided to delete it. So what is it exactly that they decided to delete? Well, you can't see it very well from my screen, but the red underlining here says, we were first looking for our samurai, someone who could be our non-Japanese eyes though. This is because they thought from the beginning the story of the Portuguese arrival would be a very good way to tell the crisis in Japan, but they chose the black foreigner character in order to do that. Apparently it made Ubisoft look bad, and so they just removed that part of the quote completely from their article. As you can see here in their edited version, it is not included. They really wanted to do a Japanese samurai, but they didn't want to do a Japanese samurai that was actually Japanese, I guess. They had every intention to do this from the beginning, apparently. I've heard stories about about the lore changes and how there was a different original story, and that's another animal altogether. But what I want to focus on today is the things that people are saying to gamers who are upset about this, because not only is there backpedaling going on, there are attacks being conducted against people who are upset about this game. This is from Packer Girl, and Packer Girl, of course, does really great reporting when it comes to the gamer stuff. Bethesda Deutschland Senior Product Marketing Manager Marcel Hatam. Why is it the marketing managers who are always caught saying these things, amongst other community managers and game developers? But I see marketing managers saying these things a lot. But the tweet says right here in this image, "This looks stunning, very different setting for the series, 2 interesting character perspectives and some very impressive tech upgrades to Anvil. Congratulations to my Ubi friends on finally being able to talk about this on your terms as you deserve." And that person got about 24 likes. Nobody really said anything in response, but then out of nowhere, they decided to say one more thing. And they said, "And needless to say, but I still enjoy doing so. If you have a problem with this game because the protagonists are a black man and a woman, I truly pity you. Respect artists does not just apply when they make half-naked anime characters." Well, who is this in response to? Are they attacking the Japanese for being upset that this character's black? Is that why they throw a jab at anime and about how some characters are half naked in anime? It seems like it's an attack on people in Japan that are upset, so I guess it's a problem when Japan's upset for not being properly represented in their games. And it's really funny because these are the types of people who would usually defend being properly represented. But continuously I see that the Japanese are on the bottom rung when it comes to that ideology being pushed. I mean, these people are not being represented properly, but for some reason, the people who usually defend that concept don't care, I guess. I don't know if they're attacking Western gamers, but it certainly seems like an attack on Japanese gamers, because as this person says themselves, it is a needless comment, but they decided to post it anyway. They also go on to say to another comment in response, there was a meme here that was posted, "MFs, ever since the Assassin's Creed Shadows reveal trailer, you know I'm something of a Japanese history expert myself." And Marcel Hatam said in response, "Actually pretty impressive, considering many of them were also medical doctors and experts in virus transmission just a few short years ago." So this is one of those people that took the vaccine and has a problem with right-wingers because they're attributing people who are complaining about the misrepresentation of the Japanese setting in Assassin's Creed Shadows to the people who apparently said that the vaccine was bad news back in 2020. So when the whole world was shut down, the people who were upset about the vaccine are also upset about this game. So this person's making this purely political, categorizing everybody under one giant political umbrella, because that's how they see the world. Gamers can't be against or for the vaccine and then against or for a Japanese game being misrepresented by a black samurai. You can't be upset about that unless you're a Trump supporter, I guess, or against the vaccine. It's always some kind of weird rainbow flag vaccine pushing narrative these people have. And when you go against something that they are for, they automatically associate you with a political tribe. I guess I should consider myself thankful that for no reason at all, I've been blocked by this person. Either I was a part of some kind of huge blockchain, or my criticisms or opinions about Assassin's Creed Shadows has earned me this block. It's funny, because they think that blocking actually matters and that I don't have an alternate I can look at their profile with. So, Senior Product Marketing Manager at Bethesda Deutschland, he, him, amazing, of course. 12 years games marketing veteran. All opinions are mine. Love games, animals, football, metal, comics. Incredible how this just consistently happens the same way as it happens usually. But again, I'm not mad that I'm blocked. And in fact, I would rather be blocked than deal with whatever Asmongold has to deal with. Because if you see this Park Place article, Asmongold balks at Assassin's Creed Shadows $130 Ultimate Edition price point that includes Day 1 DLC. A lot of the discourse surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows right now, especially on social media, mostly revolves around Yasuke's character and his history and what Wikipedia is doing and whether the Japanese should or should not be upset about this according to Western white liberal women. But then there are people who focus on other issues that are also really important, and maybe even more so than the issue at hand. The insanely stupid price points. They're overcharging for this game. I mean, they're trying to get away with it, and Asmongold thinks that this black character in this video game is just just a distraction to get people to not pay attention to this thing, which I also find to be a reasonable take. Of course they could do something like that. Make a controversial video game character for attention and for pre-order sales. Yeah, absolutely. Movies have done that, so why wouldn't the video game industry do something like that too? But he said something pretty reasonable. He says, this is why people pirate games. They're doing it again. Who cares about the main character? The game is $130. He then added, everybody's mad about the character, but maybe this is their strategy. Add in a main character for a game that is really controversial, and that way it'll distract people from the fact that you're trying to get people to spend $130 for the effing game. He does have a point about this. I think that people have both a point about the Japanese characters being replaced by a black main character for the sake of DEI and ESG. I think that that's a reasonable take, and I'll show you why in just a second. But I also think that the complaints about the price are also reasonable. Why wouldn't you point that out when Ubisoft is charging up the wazoo without even showing us gameplay first? And I actually talked about this image in a video prior to this one, but yeah, as you can see, they're trying to push people towards the Ultimate Edition, which is included in a Ubisoft Plus subscription deal for $17.99 a month, which is drastically lower than these insane actual game prices on the left. Yeah, these are really terrible marketing practices, and of course, I could see Yasuke being used as a distraction. I don't think that's a far-fetched take. Why wouldn't they do that? They could do two things at once. But do you know who doesn't find his take reasonable? It's 22,000 people on Twitter who apparently want him dead. 22,000 people wish death on Asmongold for thinking a game being $130 is outrageous. We are cooked as a species. Now, could you say for certain that these 22,000 people liking this post actually want Asmongold dead? You can't really say for sure, but check out what this person says in response to Dexerto. So Dexerto says maybe this is their strategy, so he quotes Asmongold, and JT says in response, in a quote tweet, words can't describe how happy I am and how fortunate I feel to live in the timeline where two mad effing died, but please Lord, I need you to perform one more miracle for me. This person is not only glad that another person died, but he wants Asmongold to die as well and is praying to God for that to happen. God doesn't take kindly to prayers about you wishing death on other human beings. But apart from misunderstanding God completely, we're also going to misunderstand Asmongold's very mild and tame take that actually has a lot of validity to it. Let's just wish death upon this guy. But I'm more shocked about the fact that 22,000 people liked this post. I guess just talking about the price point for Ubisoft's game is going to get you canceled, and people apparently want you dead. I mean, what kind of response is that? To hate a guy and want him dead for just pointing out the fact that Ubisoft is overcharging for this game when they really don't have to. But at least Elon Musk and his crew understand when a post is just too much to be left sitting there for all to see. Because it's ridiculous that this guy just wished death on Asmongold, or why anybody needs to be having their lives ended over a video game in the first place. That's just absurd, and we shouldn't be condoning that or even making fun of people who have to deal with something like that. It's absurd. Death threats are not okay no matter what side you are on. But again, this is the kind of discourse that you can expect when you're calling out mega corporations for trying to push an ideology. You're going to get a bunch of bots and a bunch of crazy people who either want you dead, who call you an isonphobe, etc., etc. Those are the things that you just kind of have to deal with. It comes with the territory. Even the gamer got in on this discourse. Hi, I'm an idiot who's mad about everything in video games except the layoffs, by Mike Drucker. It says, who cares about people losing their livelihoods when Assassin's Creed has a black protagonist? And then they go on and rage about both that game and Stellar Blade, saying that is unless the developer makes any subtle changes to her design between announcement and release, in which case I was always the biggest fan of her and I will murder the artist who gave her suboptimal vagina bones. The fact I don't know the names of body parts while being mad about those same body parts gives me absolutely zero pause. If I try to consider concepts in my head, my nose begins bleeding like a psychic pushing their limits. Wait, no, it was Stellar Blade, wasn't it? Gaming journalists, everybody. They're going to be in denial, even if you have all of the facts and enough evidence to point you in the right direction. And the right direction is that this game is likely going to be a woke piece of trash video game. Sure, it could have a very beautiful world and maybe a couple of interesting side quests, but more or less, this game is going to be just like other Ubisoft games, except this time they're just grossly misrepresenting and disrespecting an entire culture and trying to hide that fact and downplay its extreme nature. This is from Memology 101. The lead writer for Assassin's Creed Shadows is a feminist and follows Sweet Baby Inc. and a plethora of far-left personalities. This explains so much. Now, I did touch upon this lead writer in my last video, Behaving as the Wind Behaves, she, her, lead writer on Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, people were wondering, hey, why did you even mention her? You just exposed her for no reason. She has nothing to do with this, and Sweet Baby Inc. has nothing to do with this, but check this out. She follows Sweet Baby Inc. Oh, no, that's nothing. That's nothing. No, don't even, there's no relation here, okay? She just follows them because she likes what they do. Oh, wait, she follows them for what? Why else would she follow them? Because she doesn't like them? Because she doesn't believe in what they believe? Are you kidding me? Look at the Sweet Baby Inc. page. There they are, Ubisoft, smack dab on the front page of Sweet Baby Inc. No, man, no, there's no way. Sweet Baby Inc. isn't involved with Ubisoft. They're not going to have any consultation on this game. You might actually be right. Of course, there is this post from Learning the Law. Meet the diverse team of Assassin's Creed Shadows. From the narrative director and lead writer to the level designers, the team embodies diversity most unexpectedly. A group of white Western liberal women who seem to dislike their skin. Of course, I don't know how old this image is because it has a very interesting character in it, which we will get to in just a second. I just find it interesting that even if this is just the female part of the team, because I have seen males a part of the Ubisoft team, okay? Let's not play silly and say that there are no men on the Ubisoft team. There probably are, and they're just not in this photo. But there are a bunch of white liberal women in this photo, and I do find that to be rather funny considering the subject material and the fact that in the bottom left-hand corner, they've got that person that helped consult on their game, Sachi Schmidt Hori. I actually mentioned this person in my last video as well. A professor of Japanese literature and culture, but she specializes in same-sex relationships between old Buddhist men and young boys. Yes, I did mention that, and this is exactly who they hired to consult on this game. Maybe there are others, who knows, but this is the kind of material that they specialize in, and it is kind of weird that Ubisoft hired them. But don't just limit your visibility to just that lady or a bunch of blue-haired people in this photo. Let's take a look at the back of this photo where Kim Belair herself, the Sweet Baby Inc. CEO, is in that same picture hiding behind a blue-haired lady. I can't even tell you how much this encapsulates our current issue today. I mean, this is a visual representation of what we are dealing with. Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair used to work at Ubisoft. Now, Ubisoft is on their front page, and the lead writer of Assassin's Creed Shadows follows Sweet Baby Inc. But hey, you guys are nuts for even considering or even suggesting that Sweet Baby Inc. could have inspired this game or be involved in this game. No, that's just a ridiculous notion. I'm sure that that information won't come out and shock everybody later. That being said, that is all I've got for you guys in this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.